BallGame podcast. We've got an exciting episode here for you today. We're going to be talking about fantasy football, a little bit of a lull in the NFL offseason, so we figure why not the perfect time to bring out the most stressful part about the football season, which is picking your fantasy teams. I'm Tom, joined by my two co-hosts.
I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a full PPR fantasy mock draft. 12 teams, always a lot of fun. It's way too early. Obviously, in the next couple of months, things are going to change here. But for the most part, I think a lot of this will hold true. And we're going to also rank our top five. Yeah, our top five dynasty quarterbacks, because we know a lot of you, dynasty fantasy football is definitely on the rise in the past couple of seasons. Some of you probably have startup drafts going on, maybe some super flex business going on.
I was about to say, now the times when people start to do some startups.
Yep. Yeah.
Rookies are, in camp and all that stuff. So probably like regular redraft leagues, people aren't drafting yet, but dynasty startups, people are starting to do. So.
When you guys usually do, I know we do leagues together, but I know people who do redrafts like before preseason, and I think that's the worst thing ever. I think you have to do it after the preseason because, I guess starters play less now, so it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, what is the preseason now? 2 games?
2 games.
Is it really? Oh, it's only 2 games?
Yeah, 2-game preseason. Did you hear the NFL is also thinking about, it might be
changing OTAs?
18-game season and only
really?
1 preseason game and 2 bye weeks now?
Wow.
To set up the Super Bowl with, I forgot what day it is in February, that, the day after
Valentine's Day.
You would get off. The Monday.
Oh, probably President's Day?
President's Day. There it is.
Yo.
It would set it up for the Super Bowl being on Sunday and President's Day, everybody having off on that Monday.
Wow. I blacked out for the Super Bowl this year, and I had work the next day, so I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
So the NFL's thinking about doing a whole lot of stuff. Bro, if you get to go out for the Super Bowl and not have to worry about going to work the next day, you know how much fun that's going to be for everybody?
Yeah.
So
Super Bowl should be just its own national holiday, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I think Super Bowl Monday should have been a thing in the first place. But it's super dope. I think it's a great concept.
Super.
Look, 18 weeks of the NFL season, 18 games, I'll never complain about.
More football the better for me. But
God damn it, you better keep those players healthy, because
get rid of turf.
That's gonna
get rid of turf, and you can have as many games as you want.
Yeah, I wonder how the NFLPA is gonna come to an agreement on that stuff, but I'm sure it'll all work itself out. We are headed to an 18-game season, though. It seems that way. Roger Goodell said it on the McAfee show back when the draft was happening. He said 18 games is happening. It's just a matter of when, not if. So, more fantasy football. Instead of week 16 right now, or week 17 being the championship week, it'll be pushed back another week.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I think it's a great concept. I think it's a great idea. Give me the Super Bowl with a Monday off. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, all right. Why don't we dive directly into our top 5 quarterbacks in dynasty formats? We're going to be doing this weekly, by the way. We're going to do this. We're going to do quarterbacks. We're going to do running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, of course. All the aspects of fantasy football, all the positions of fantasy football. Dynasty has quickly become my favorite, I can say safely, form of fantasy football now. It helps that I have a God squad, but yeah, it's my favorite form of fantasy football. And it's rising, as you said. It's becoming one of the most popular formats for fantasy football.
What are you guys, 3 seasons in or 2 seasons in?
We are in our 4th year.
We're going into your 4th year? Wow.
Yeah, going into our 4th year. Two-time.
Kid's got a dynasty.
Going for the back-to-back this year. But yeah, so why don't we dive straight into this?
Want to do a TikTok intro for me? These are our top 5 quarterbacks.
All right.
You mean it,
I got you. I will make sure I mean it. That was zesty. These are our top 5 quarterback. Fuck. These are our top 5 dynasty football quarterbacks. Fuck. No.
You know what happens? You say it, you mess it up, and you just want to do it again so quickly while it's in your head, and then you mess it up like 2 more times. You just gotta stop, take a deep breath, and then do it.
These are our top 5 dynasty fantasy football quarterbacks.
Nice.
It's dynasty fantasy back-to-back. That was tripping you up, right?
Yeah. A little bit. All right, here we go. And we'll go one by one, 5, 4.
5 through 1, yeah.
At number 5 for me, I have Jalen Hurts. He's locked in on a long-term deal. He has the rushing upside, as we see with the tush push every single year. Maybe we don't get it as great because Jason Kelsey's gone, but Jalen Hurts is locked and loaded, top 5 fantasy football quarterback.
You or me?
Oh, I thought we were going our whole list.
Oh, you want to do the whole list?
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right, that's fine.
All right. At number 4, I have C.J. Stroud. Of course, C.J. Stroud's an absolute superstar already in his rookie season. I'm trusting that he's only going to take a step up. The only thing that scares me in terms of fantasy upside is the fact that there isn't as much rushing upside there. You could argue for Jalen Hurts to be above C.J. Stroud. I wouldn't even be against that. But C.J., all in all, I just trust that he's going to have multiple 30-plus touchdown seasons. And, of course, I think there's some 200 to 300 rushing yard upside in there as well. So that's why I have it number 4. At number 3, Lamar Jackson. This goes without explaining. The rushing upside's always there. He's locked in on a long-term deal. That's super important for Dynasty football. And it seems like, I mean, obviously the Ravens are Lamar. So going to be fantasy production every single year. At number 2, of course, the man himself, Patrick Mahomes. I would, of course, put him at number 1 if we were just doing straight-up quarterback rankings. But given that this is fantasy, at number 1, the guy who has been number 1 for the past few seasons in fantasy football, that is Josh Allen. There is no doubt about it. Josh Allen is the best fantasy football quarterback in the game.
Good, Tom.
What happened?
Good. Let him have it.
Yeah, I went different with mine. I went way younger with mine, which is interesting. At 5. I have Lamar Jackson. I know you had him a little higher. Same thing. The Ravens are Lamar Jackson. He's always going to run the hell out of the ball, and he's going to give you some big-time passing games too, good passing touchdown numbers. At 4, I have also Josh Allen. He's just Superman with the football. He's just going to run through people, around people, throw deep down the field. He can do it all. At 3, I went with Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson could have a big year even this season. I am a little worried about injury concern, or else he would have been higher, but we know the rushing upside is there, and he's a big boy himself. I think his passing game is going to come along for sure, and I'm real hype on Anthony Richardson. And at number 2, I went with Jordan Love. I think he's got all the tools to be a great fantasy quarterback. He can have huge touchdown numbers. He can have huge passing games. I think rushing will come with him more. And I like that his offense is super young, and he's going to be with those guys for a long time, and it was already good last year, so I think it'll only get better. And at number 1, I have C.J. Stroud. I just think the weapons around him are really going to boost him. I think the rushing aspect will come. I just think overall you're going to see kind of a decline with rushing quarterbacks. I don't think they're, unless they're like these super athletic guys, then maybe not. But again, with Stroud, I just think Stroud's one of those guys that's always going to have a good situation around him because of the team he's on, and they seem to want to put the best team around him at all times. So I just like the situation.
Nice. Who was 3 and 2 for you? I heard Richardson at 4.
AR and Love.
Oh, AR was at 3. Okay. Jordan Love. Wow. Okay.
He's just so young. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to put
a different approach.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So at number 5, I have C.J. Stroud. He put out the best rookie quarterback season we've ever seen. Like you said, Tom, they added Stephon Diggs, added Joe Mixon. He has all the weapons around him, so he should take a big jump this year, and he should continue that greatness for years to come. At 4, I have Lamar, one of the most dynamic fantasy weapons we've seen at the quarterback position over the last decade. The rushing upside's always going to be there. He could go for 70 yards on the ground in any given game. At number 3, I have Patrick Mahomes. Not much has to be said. You can't have a top 5 anything list without putting Patrick Mahomes in there. He could explode for 50 touchdowns any season. At number 2, I have Jalen Hurts. He was just the quarterback 2 last year. 3 straight years of 10-plus rushing touchdowns, having 15 last year, which is just absurd. If they're going to keep giving him the ball on the goal line the way they do, then he should continue to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback for years to come. And number 1, I think the unquestioned number 1 dynasty quarterback right now, Josh Allen, a guy who could kind of do what I said the last 2 guys could do. He could do like Mahomes and throw for 50 touchdowns, and then he could rush for 10-plus touchdowns on the ground. So he's the most dynamic weapon in, honestly, all fantasy football right now, Josh Allen.
Who'd you have it for?
4, I had Lamar.
Okay.
Lamar.
Got it. So no Jalen.
No, he had Jalen. Jalen was at 2. No, Josh. Did you have Josh?
Josh.
What the fuck was I listening to?
Josh.
Stroud, Lamar, Mahomes, Hurts, Allen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we had the same 5, just in a different order. Cool. Got it.
That's
I think your approach was very different.
Yeah.
Like for me.
Yeah, I went a little too much the youth focus.
A lot of youth.
Yeah.
A lot
You know,
of
but
youth.
it depends on
But,
your
like,
draft strategy.
yeah.
Because if I go into a startup draft and I draft a bunch of young receivers in the early rounds, my approach may shift to a ranking like Tom's, where I kind of want the youth. I mean, I think Josh Allen should be unquestionably number
Yes,
one.
I
But
agree with that.
when you
Yeah,
look at
that's
a guy
totally
like
fair.
Lamar, you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, what is the lifespan on those guys?
That's the
you
scary
know?
part.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on your draft strategy. I mean, especially given the value too. Like, I know this is just a ranking, but in terms of like draft value, if I draft a bunch of young guys and my team may not win right away, I'm not going to take that risk on Lamar in the 3rd or 4th round when I could get a guy like Jordan Love in maybe the 7th or 8th in a Superflex startup. You know, maybe 5th, 6th type of thing. It depends how Superflex startup goes.
Superflex startup.
Superflex, he's going.
I looked at it. Superflex startups, the first like
Everyone drafts quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay.
first round is pretty much
Yeah.
all quarterback.
You could get Jordan Love in maybe the end of the second
middle
round.
of the first round
Yeah.
at minimum, if we're being honest. He is, Superflex startups, it's quarterbacks go heavy in the first round.
Yeah.
Unless they're older, then they start
So
to
yeah,
fall.
and a super flex, obviously you'd rather have one of the top dogs, and given if that's you're not getting any value on anyone else. But
No, you're not.
if you're doing a single quarterback startup, that's where maybe what I
Yes.
said could come into play.
Yes, for
It's
sure.
only one quarterback. but-
I would
Hey,
say
Rich
though,
at 3.
look.
A
first
Rich
of
is
all,
going to
I
be
thought-
really good.
If we went top 10, I would have totally had Anthony Richardson probably at 6, to be entirely honest with you.
So I actually did a 6 and 7, and I deliberated with these two names. I deliberated between Anthony Richardson and Caleb Williams.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
ultimately went with Caleb Williams ahead of A. Rich. He's just less of a wild card for me. I think A. Rich might have the higher ceiling, but especially given the weapons room around him, and I know A. Rich has some great weapons too, but in terms of Caleb, what he could do as a passer, the weapons around him, I just think it's so much less likely that he busts compared to Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson. I think he has a much safer floor.
I think Jordan Love is up there too. Probably would be around my number 8. There's a lot of great quarterback talent in the NFL, is what I get.
Two
out
at
of this,
9?
to be honest. Who would I put? Maybe Trevor Lawrence, maybe Jaden Daniels, something around that, along those lines, off the top of my head. I'm not sure. Brock Purdy could be up there. But yeah, I think you took a very interesting and different approach.
I don't know, man. I like having a young quarterback who, in like those guys can all be. They might not be QB1 or even QB4 or 5 this year, but next year, tell me Stroud can't crack the top 5, can't have a.
So when
And
you
a guy like Stroud, you're not going to have to worry about the injuries and the
Right.
wild card aspect of it. If you draft Stroud in a quarterback startup, in a dynasty startup, that's your quarterback one for the next 10 years.
Right.
Stamped.
Yeah, that's
No matter
more what I was
you
like.
know?
That's more
Obviously,
where I was going
something
with
crazy
it.
could happen, but for the most,
Yeah, I could say you could say that for sure. I would just ask you. So if you had the first overall pick, you're taking TJ.
It is tough to not take.
That's how I'm
a guy like
looking
Josh
at it.
Allen.
Like,
You know
Josh
what I mean?
Allen
Yeah.
is a locked in. Like, I think no doubt number 1 overall.
I think
pick.
Allen and Hurts should be 1 and 2.
1 and 2?
That's that's totally fair.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, look, when I did it with Hurts, I was like, honestly, I could have moved him up 2 or 3 spots, and 2 through 5 for me was like you could go any
I
which
just
way.
think Hurts versus Mahomes and Stroud. I just think, again, those guys might have safer floors, but we just seen it. Hurts at his very best is the clear quarterback too.
Yeah.
in fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Clear in a way.
Mahomes, the only thing is like he doesn't have to put up great numbers to have a great season. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like we just saw that he was.
saw
I
it.
just looked. He was QB8, and like I remember I had Mahomes in the beginning of the year. He was not great, but you know he's Mahomes. Like you said, he could throw for 80 touchdowns if he wanted to. Like
Yeah, he could.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
he
totally
absolutely
fine.
could. It's
And
kind
you-
of crazy because
and you know he's here to stay.
In our league, Tremarky actually has Mahomes and Stroud, and we're going to Superflex next year, which is
That's terrifying.
Our dynasty league sucks that we're changing to Superflex and we didn't draft. I want to do a new dynasty league that's like starts with Superflex so I can start my team.
it definitely does suck, but we've now we at least made it to where we have 2 off seasons.
Oh
to
yeah,
kinda
I'm
set it
fine.
up.
I'm not worried.
set.
I made sure I was set for that.
You're set.
I knew that was coming, so I made sure I was ready for it.
And I think Bryce Young's about to take a massive. Actually, you know what? I'll pose another question just so we stay on this. Is there one quarterback in the league right now that you think is going to improve their stock the most from where they're at right now to where they are next season?
Tua Tagovailoa. All he has to do is just do what he does in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, you get a complete season. That, in terms of fantasy, that's a top 6-7 guy. He was putting up 30
for sure.
bombs
No, he was
when
putting up crazy numbers
when the weather was nice.
Yeah.
So you think, where would Tua be ranked at in a start? Probably like 13 or 14, I would say, given his youth.
I think he could play his way into a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Okay.
I really do. So if he's like a few spots out, I think he can move up there. A guy like Bryce Young obviously can move up more,
Yeah.
but I think I'm more confident. I think this is the year for Tua, man. But
Of course you do.
Looking at it for the biggest jump, I kind of spoiled what I would say already. It's Bryce Young for me. I think it's going to be a great season for Bryce. All the weapons are around him now. He's got an improved offensive line. I think Dave Canales is about to work magic with this dude. So I think Bryce Young is about to take a massive jump into potentially like the top 14 or 12. So
Yeah,
Sam
Bryce could
Howell.
definitely do it.
that's big time for you, actually.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, bro.
We'll
He ain't
see.
even gonna play this year.
I don't know, man. He might take Gino's job, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about all that one, man.
I could see Gino losing his job.
Gino's a
but
baller. Come on.
I don't know. They brought in that Washington OC. They like to sling that rock, and then they go trade for a young gunslinger, Sam Howell.
I like Sam Howell. I just don't
Yeah.
think this is the year for him to improve his stock the most. What do you got?
I think if Anthony Richardson gives you a healthy season, then there's no question. Like next season, dynasty startups, between his rushing ability and the limited bit that we did see in the passing game, I think
He
it's
could move himself all the way up to the quarterback one.
Right,
Yes,
like I
I
was gonna say,
completely
like he
agree
could
with
totally
that
become
statement,
top
yes.
3, top 5 quarterback.
No,
in
he could get
fantasy,
up to the
He could
quarterback.
get up to
Yeah,
QB1.
no,
quite
absolutely.
simply,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He just has to stay healthy. That's the big issue.
Yeah, it is the big issue.
Because I think
for
it's
sure.
almost guaranteed. Like Shane Steichen, whoever he's had, he's made work. Like made a good quarterback. So I think it's almost a guarantee that you give Steichen a guy like Anthony Richardson, who apparently is just A, the greatest human being of all time, and B, one of the hardest workers on the entire team. And he's built like a freak of nature. Like, what the hell,
Yeah.
bro? Like, all Diddy. This man is like 6'5", 250, bro, like, and runs a 4.4. Like, what the hell? Well, some people are just made different by God, and it doesn't make
Yep.
any sense. But yeah, so
All the
A-Rich, I
same
think.
things apply to Jaden Daniels too, because he's not. I'm sure they don't have him ranked as a top 5 dynasty quarterback
No,
right now, but
top
he's
12,
a
I
guy
think.
who, if he has a pretty electric rookie season, with the rushing upside, could definitely play his way into
Yeah,
a top 5
absolutely.
dynasty quarterback.
I agree. Chris, that looked good for you.
Oh,
Bryce
yeah.
and
Oh no,
Jaden?
he's going to do that.
Bro, my heart is so
Cliff Kingsbury, Scary Terry, Jahan
Don't even get
Dotson,
me started about Dotson, bro. That man has burned me too many times.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, all right.
Austin
All right.
Eckler.
Many
Talk
men.
Brian Robinson, Rob, baby. But yeah, that's our top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, for
All
dynasty
right.
football.
That was fun.
So let's get into this draft. Like we said, a way, way, way too early fantasy football mock draft. Rankings are going to change. I'm not going to promise, but maybe we'll have our own fantasy football rankings out to you guys before draft season. Something that we've obviously talked about. I don't know if we'll be able to execute, but we'll try. We'll obviously have a bunch of TikToks and videos, all fantasy stuff, tips, all that stuff. Players we're drafting, players we're not drafting, different draft strategies, all that fun jubble. But yeah, so this is a PPR redraft league. It is 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 2 flex, and a tight end. And we're also drafting 5 bench spots. We've random number generated our picks. I've picked 3. Thomas picked 5. Matty J has pick
10.
10. And that's
Sweet.
pretty much the gist of everything.
That's on auto, right?
Yeah, I got to go over there and start it, though.
Okay, cool. Got it.
All right.
By the way, this ball game team does not reflect our thoughts. So keep that in mind, people. Keep that in mind. Because auto draft does not reflect where we would go with
No,
these
no, no,
picks.
no, no. Auto draft on sleeper is funny as hell.
It is.
I've done like last offseason I did hundreds of mock drafts, like literally hundreds, and some of the things you'd see, like it was crazy.
Yeah, they'll take
See, like Saquon at 2, like something like that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder where Saquon goes in this one. That's an
Oh,
intriguing
here we
one.
go. So Christopher is on the clock.
Chris-
CeeDee Lamb
on
and
the
Christian McCaffrey are the first 2 names off the board. That's nice. That's interesting.
I think that's decently accurate.
Yeah.
It's not far off. I mean, CD going 1 is a little insane, but given the fact that he had the season that he did last year,
Yeah.
like, and it's not like they added much to their receiver room, so could be in for a big CD year again.
All right, with the third pick, I think it's a no-brainer. The wide receiver 2 from last year went for 1,800 yards, 1,799 if you want to be specific. Had 13 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill getting double-digit touchdowns is always a good thing. You know the yards are going to be there. You know the targets are going to be there. But if he's getting touchdowns like that, could be the wide receiver 1. He was on pace to be the wide receiver 1 for most of the season.
On pace to break records.
Yeah, he only played 16 games, so he didn't get to the 2,000-yard mark like he promised last offseason. I think this is going to be the year. Tyreek 2K. Give me Tyreek Hill.
Man, if he beats 1,800 yards at 30, like the following season, that really would be something. Man, this is a tough one.
So A.J. Brown goes next, as you guys.
Yep, A.J. Brown goes to Team 4 and puts me in an interesting spot. I think I'm definitely going to take a receiver. I'm taking one of the LSU boys.
Yep.
Oh, come on, dude.
I would do the exact same thing. It's difficult.
It is.
It is a very difficult decision because you got Burrow, who is dealing with the wrist injury.
Right.
Jamar's currently holding out.
Right.
I mean, he will be playing.
Yeah.
Jamar's currently holding out. And then with Jettas, it's like, how good is
You got
Sam
Sam Darnold,
Darnold?
the quarterback, man.
But I'll say one thing. He was still pretty damn good with Nick Mullins. And I'd like to safely say that Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Nick Mullins, and I think with the KOC offense, it always manages to work itself out at quarterback. So
That is very true.
if I'm talking
tough.
people through things, I love Jamar. Jamar is my wide receiver 1 or 2 because I have CD 2 in Dynasty, so I love that man. But
Yeah.
But I think personally, the correct pick, if these two are on the board together, I think it should be Jettas. Not that you asked
I don't know,
my
man.
input
No,
or give a fuck.
I appreciate it.
There's my input.
I'm going to go Jamar just because if Burrow is healthy, then that could be the wide receiver 1 easy. Like, he could just score a bunch of touchdowns and, like you said, with Justin Jefferson, it doesn't. He is definitely quarterback proof. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of I'm looking to get the wide receiver 1 here potentially, and I think Jamar just has that slight edge because of the touchdown potential.
What would you do between them two?
Yeah, Jettas or Chase real quick.
Because I said mine.
Oh, I'd take Jamar. I trust Joe Burrow way more than J.J. McCarthy. It's actually pretty simple for me.
Okay. All right, so this one's tough. All right. I feel like 10, you really get to a point where it's like, who do I even take? It depends on what your draft strategy is, but I'm going to be honest, I'm very high on a certain guy that used to be a Giant that has kind of burned us now, and that's Saquon Barkley.
Interesting.
And as much as I would love to go receiver, I'm in a good position to take a guy like Saquon here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I don't hate the pick, but I probably would have.
And the guy that I was
Played the
considering
chances.
taking
Yeah,
here
okay.
anyway is still on the board.
Love
And that's the Jets wide receiver 1, and that is Garrett Wilson. If the board fell for me like that, I would be the most
Saquon and
happy
Garrett.
human
Yeah.
being of all time.
I was definitely my last pick. I was definitely Bijan was in there because Bijan he's gonna be awesome. He could be the RB1
Bijan's gonna
without
be
a
the baller
doubt.
this year. I would hope so.
But now I'm
So
back on the clock here.
After
Oh, yeah,
Garrett
go ahead.
Wilson went Marvin Harrison, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, and Drake London.
I don't care who the rookie is.
guys
I'm
think
terrified of
come
taking a
on,
rookie.
dude.
You guys
that
think
early?
that's too early for Marvin?
No. I think he's probably going to go for
He should.
That would have him as wide receiver 10 this draft.
That's
Could happen.
Completely fair. I think he could go for 1,210 easily.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know
So-
you're very high on Marvin.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm on the clock here. Obviously, I took Jamar Chase for my first pick. I'm not in love with these running backs. But the receivers, it's tough because Ayuk. I think he's going to get traded, but when does he get traded is a question. And to where does he get traded? Obviously, is a huge question. If he stays in San Fran, I would definitely pick him here. If I knew he was going to stay in San Fran. But
I think it's pretty safe that he's going to be there.
just don't
to be
know.
honest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think so too.
They've been-
Even with the
They've been
risk.
talking a lot about contracts recently.
Yeah, I know.
It seems like Ayuk is more and more likely to be staying in San Fran.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that risk and assume he's gonna stay in San Fran, and I'm gonna select Ayuk here back to
And I
back
think he's a
receivers.
guy that even if he does get traded, he's going to get traded
still-
to a great
yeah.
situation.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
he might even end up being better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not gonna go to. I don't think he's gonna go to a shit team if he does get traded. So, or at least
Also,
shit situation.
You're 100% right. The running backs at this stage of the draft, it does not seem like the value matches the pick. To be honest, I don't.
I actually think you're completely wrong. I think there's actually a steal on my hands. I see Travis Etienne, who was the RB3 last year, and listen, he was inconsistent, but he's a guy who went over 1,000 yards on the ground. He got 11 touchdowns. There's really no competition in that backfield because Tank Bigsby isn't a good player. The offense should hopefully improve this year. I think last year was just a weird year overall for Jacksonville.
And injuries.
So I think they should get better, but this is a guy who got 267 attempts on the ground, 58 receptions, 325 total touches. Give me the guy who's getting 325 total touches guaranteed. I'll take Travis Etienne to be my RB1.
Okay. Curious as to where you.
Yeah, I mean he was the
Oh,
RB3.
I feel like
You
this
can't be
one's
mad
a
at it.
pretty easy one.
Yeah, so then after that's Team 2 drafts Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, which is definitely a strategy. And Derrick
Definitely a strategy. Yeah.
Derrick Henry and Devon A-Chain. But like you said, this one's pretty obvious. If I could get this guy in the beginning of round 3, I'm doing it every single time. Give me Mr. Josh Allen to be my quarterback. I have a positional advantage over everyone in the league now. Obvious choice.
Yeah, if he falls to the 3rd round, I don't care if it's 301.
Man.
You take him. Like, you don't hesitate for a second, in my personal opinion.
All right, so this is so tough because
This is like
this guy has gone in the first round every year for how many years?
I know exactly who it is.
Like, I don't have a running back, so it is scary. But it's Travis goddamn Kelce, man. I'm not passing that up. I'll figure out running back. I don't think I'm passing up Travis Kelce in the 3rd round. I know he started off the year rough, but we know who Travis Kelce is, and he's on a team with Patrick Mahomes. He's in prime position to score a bunch of touchdowns. Give me
So
Travis.
when I did a mock earlier today at the 6th overall pick, Travis fell to the 306, and I was like, it's Travis.
That's a pick you could look back on and be like, wow, that was so fucking obvious. Like, why would I not do that?
Exactly. All right, so it gets a little tough for me here. I don't love anyone really to this point of the draft. I really don't like the value of many of these guys. I like as much as I want to take Malik, I can't take.
You can't take Malik.
Wide receiver too. It's tough because DJ Moore had a great season last year, but they added a lot of target competition. It's a rookie quarterback. I don't care that it's Caleb. It's a little hard to trust. Malik Neighbors. Who is the quarterback? Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman.
I like
There's
Michael
nothing you
Pittman.
can
Michael
say.
Pittman.
I like Michael
So
Pittman.
I did
bro.
mock drafts.
I would so take Michael
Listen to me.
Pittman.
Listen
Yeah.
to me before you go. I did mock drafts earlier. I did a few. And I got to that similar point where there were a few players ahead of him on the ADP, and I pointed out their flaws. This guy, this guy, this. And I get to Michael Pittman, and I sit there like this. Because there's really nothing negative you can say to not draft him. I'm not a Michael Pittman guy for whatever reason. I hear his name, and I make a stank face. Like,
He's not flashy.
he just doesn't entice me. But when I did mock drafts earlier, he was just so obviously the pick at this point. In
Wide
the draft.
receiver 13 with Minshew as his quarterback most of the year.
Yeah, but it just scares me because what's the passing volume in the offense? You know, like that's where I stand with it. Pittman, it's like you can't point out a flaw in the player, but I'm going to end up taking him here anyway because I didn't have much time on the clock.
Sleazy said nice shirt. Thanks, but love you, buddy. I just wanted to show him love. Neighbors, I'm not even so much worried about the quarterback as I am like there isn't no pass catching talent around him, so he's just gonna have all the defensive attention on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or could look at it like there is talent around him.
Right.
Might I add? Wandale is going to, in my opinion, have a very good season.
Come on, bro.
Personally, I'm a big fan.
I love Wandale
There's
Robinson,
guys
but
who may have some upside, but let's not call
No,
them
you're not
a
looking at-
talented group.
right.
They're not as bad as people think they are. I don't think. All right, this is still difficult. Damn. For me here, my thought process is like there's two great quarterbacks staring me straight in the face. But the depth of quarterback is so deep this year. I could say the same thing about tight end because there's two tight ends here that I'd be stupid not to take. Stupid.
That being said, I'm taking a running back.
That being said, Cooper Kupp. Man, I just said it. I would be stupid not to take a certain one of these guys, especially with added weapons around him. Man, it's got to be Patrick Mahomes. He's going to have a crazy season this year, in my personal opinion. So he could be QB1 for all I know this year.
Yep.
Another 50 touchdown season could be in the books.
So I put myself in a position here. I mean, Team 6 is staying true to 0 RB, and I totally respect it. I can't do it.
Damn,
but
bro.
Yeah, that's tough. I really wanted James Cook.
That is a great start to a team, though.
Yeah.
Come on.
I really wanted James Cook. I love James Cook going into this season. I think he's going to be sick. There's one guy here that if he could just stay on the field, which 15 games the past 2 seasons, I think Ken Walker here could be an absolute fucking steal. I absolutely love this pick. If you're in a position where you pick 3 receivers, or like I did, 2 receivers and a tight end in the first 3 rounds, I think it's a home run of an RB1 pick, personally.
Because when you do that type of strategy where you try to skip a few rounds before taking a running back,
You have to take that risk.
Point, you need to take a risk on a running back.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be a guy that, like, the upside is an RB1, like legit stacked up RB1. And I mean, Ken Walker scares me a little bit, especially with Zach Charbonnet still being there. You invested a 2nd-round pick in that guy, so it's tough. But I like Ken Walker. The upside's there.
With this pick here, I'm actually gonna go with Trey McBride, man. I think him and Kyler had a great connection last year once Kyler came back. After week 8 last year, Trey McBride only had 2 weeks lower than a tight end 1, top 12 tight end, multiple weeks in the top 3. I think Marvin Harrison coming there is only going to help a guy like Trey McBride see less coverage underneath. So I think that's a potential tight end 1 there. And I was torn between him and Dalton Kincaid, considering I had Josh Allen and I was considering the stack there. But I just think I don't know. I just like Trey McBride's game a little bit better than Dalton Kincaid, honestly. No specific reason.
Mark Andrews wasn't in consideration?
No, Mark Andrews fell off, man. He ain't the same.
Okay.
With this next pick, I actually have no idea who to take.
Yep.
Yeah, it gets tough.
Feel the same way. So
I'm not taking a receiver, but I think T. Higgins,
if I could
he's
just make
probably
a
going to
comment
trade
on
in.
this board here.
I'm actually, before you make your comment, I'm actually going to send it on Alvin Kamara. This is a guy who hasn't had a season in his career in PPR where he was lower than the RB16. If I'm getting a guaranteed RB2 here, I'll take that, given the rest of my team. I filled out some other positions. So I'm obviously a little weaker at RB2, but this is a guy who I know if he's on the field, he's going to produce for me. The volume's going to be there through the air. I'm a little bit scared of Kendre Miller, but I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara here.
Okay. So for me, I was looking at the board there, and I thought to myself, like, Keenan Allen kind of intrigues me because
as the best season of his career,
target, like, yes, there's competition there, but as an underneath target, maybe he's the type of guy that a rookie quarterback would pair up with pretty damn quickly, given that he's...
I agree, and that's a risk I'm willing to let someone else make.
Totally fair.
Because there's also a risk where it's just Caleb and DJ Moore have this insane rapport, and it's not a lot of Keenan Allen, or Caleb and Roma Dunze off the ripski just because they're rookie best friends have the best connection on the team. There's a world where Dunze ends up leading them in targets somehow. I don't know how likely that world is, but that world definitely exists. So it's just too much going on there, and it's all so new that I just personally don't really want to get involved with any of it, actually.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So James Conner is like the savior of my fantasy football dream. Like I've had that man on a team every single year I've done fantasy football, but I'm not taking him here. Yeah, him, Aaron Jones, they're rough.
I actually kind of like Aaron.
It's just a 29-year-old running back. I love Aaron Jones, the player, but he was injured last season. Man, oh man, oh man. Let me see who this situation is looking like.
It really does. You really got to consider some of these dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna
red flags.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, they're all red flags for sure. You know what?
You said a certain name.
Yeah.
But you took his teammate, so.
Yeah, I can't take a receiver.
Can't take T.
No.
Could take a receiver.
Can take Jamar's other teammate and stack Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, because listen, I'm weak at running back, but that right there could make up some ground for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. So for me, part of me is a little aggravated that I took Patrick Mahomes the round before and passed up on some dudes, given that there's a certain guy that fell to me here in Anthony Richardson. This is why I think, honestly, one of the better strategies is you could wait a few rounds for quarterback. So, Amari Cooper, and I'm going to explain it like this. Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper had a crazy connection last year prior to Deshaun getting hurt. Do I trust Deshaun the player? No, not necessarily. But prior to Deshaun getting hurt, Amari was on pace for like 110 catches and 1,400 yards. I still think Amari is that dude. I'm hoping you get somewhat of a better Deshaun Watson. Screw it, the connection was there. I'm going to take Amari Cooper. That man is about as consistent can be.
Oof.
Yeah. 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 This board does not fall very favorably to me.
Yeah, this is
So Rome,
if you would have got T. Higgins there, that would have been, or Rashee Rice, that
just
honestly would have been
can't
crazy
take
for
Rome.
you.
Right? Like, I just can't. George Kittle, I'm not doing it. I love the upside of Aaron Jones this year, even though he is a 29-year-old running back. I need an RB2. He's going to be the RB1 in Minnesota behind a great offensive line and with a lot of receiving weapons there. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones to be my RB2. So.
All right, and I'm back. Still have no fucking idea which running back to take. The good thing is the guys that I really was debating at running back are still here, so I guess that's an upside. Honestly, not a bad strategy. Draft DeAndre Swift, let him look like the greatest running back ever for 3 or 4 games, and then trade his ass. Really not a bad idea at this point in the draft.
Oh, come on, dude.
Ramondre, I love the talent, but that offense is just going to be rough to watch. I'm going to go with a guy that I think is going to be on a much better offense. I'm going to take Tony Pollard. I think that offense should be better. Hopefully Will Levis can get some juice going there, and they can put him in some scoring positions. And I think Tajay Spears is going to get some work, which actually I think helps Pollard because we saw as a workhorse he was not great. No.
All right, Chris. What are we thinking here?
Let's go, team.
Jaden Reed. I was doing a mock earlier, and I saw his name there, and I'm like, really? I was like, really? I would not be.
I love the talent, but there's
He
many.
was the wide
receivers.
receiver 25.
Yeah,
Bro.
he
That's
was.
kind of
So
crazy.
I'm gonna make both
It
these
was.
picks without saying anything before. Like I'm gonna make the first pick, then I'll talk after I make the second pick. So
Okay.
Ooh.
hear me out.
Interesting.
Ooh.
So I went with
Wow,
Deontay
okay.
Johnson, and then when it came back around to me, I went with Ladd McConkey. I needed a wide receiver too desperately. All my other positions are guys that I trust with my life. I'm building a team of trust, and these are 2 guys who I would project to lead their team in targets. I'm trying to build my team with guys who I know are going to get touches. So Deontay Johnson was traded to Carolina to be the wide receiver 1. Bryce Young needed help, and like you said, you expect Bryce Young to take a leap this year. That starts with a guy like Deontay Johnson, who was done dirty by Pittsburgh. And then Ladd McConkey, listen, this is a guy who they compare to Cooper Kupp. They compare him to Hunter Renfrow. They compare him to Julian Edelman. You pick up the trend here.
He's his own.
Receivers with really good hands.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, these are guys who, again, should lead their team in targets. And I'm a guy who I always go for volume in fantasy football. So those guys should have volume.
I'm going to make a pretty nasty pick here.
It's gonna be Evan Ingram. Oh wait, you have Kelsey.
No. I'm going to take Najee Harris, man. And I think looking at his finishes, obviously his rookie year was outstanding. His finishes at least an RB2, and kind of something you said before, Chris. I need depth at running back, and I think Najee could be that. Russell Wilson does not have the arm he once did. He's going to be checking down quite a bit, and that's Najee's favorite thing.
All right. Gets a little tougher because I kind of like the players Zamir White, but I don't love the situation
Yeah.
Zamir White is in.
I was thinking the same fucking thing.
There's going to be guaranteed touches for him, but he wasn't all that involved in the pass game last year either. This is kind of another reason why I kind of wish I waited on quarterbacks. If you guys are picking up the trend here, Kyler Murray and Jordan Love is still available. They're on the board. Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert is all the way down there somewhere too. It's tough, man. For me, instead, I'm looking at a guy like Raheem Mostert thinking, look at what he did last year. I know Devon Achane is still there. And look at this, Hollywood Brown sitting there to potentially pair up. Bro, this is a rough one.
This is the point in the draft, I'd say like 6, 7, 8, 9, where you can win your league, by the way. Like, these are where you make home run picks. Like, I got, like last year, I got Mostert, way later than this, actually. I got like Pacheco in the 9th round in one league. Like I said, these picks have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah,
you think it's the earlier picks, but usually you can kind of make up for those with name value if you miss on those. But
you know what? I can't trust the rookie tight end as much as I want to. I'm gonna go with Zamir White in the guaranteed touches.
Can't be mad at it.
I don't like it, but I have to.
Seeing Nick Chubb all the way down here is just
It
fucking
hurts
sad.
my heart,
It's so
man.
sad.
It really does, and I kind of want to take him for vibes. I'm gonna go with someone that I know I can rely on week in, week out. He's not flashy, but he's going to get a bunch of targets in a Dallas offense that isn't especially great. I think Jake Ferguson's a pretty damn good tight end to have in the 8th round. He's not going to win you games, but he also ain't going to lose you them either. So
Interesting. You have Amari there. I like you had Njoku on the board. Hawkinson there, I think, is really interesting for a tight end.
Hawk is good, but coming off that torn ACL,
that's true.
I don't
forgot all
trust
about that.
anyone with
Okay,
that.
fair enough. Man, this is rough.
yeah, it's bad.
Honestly, if I didn't pick Najee, I would have definitely snatched up Jalen Warren here.
Like, bro, both these Tennessee receivers, man. Like,
That's exactly what I'm thinking right now.
I like both of them individually, but I don't like both of them on the same team. So
I don't.
given that we don't even know what Will Levis really is yet.
I'm gonna take a guy with. I'm gonna reach for a ceiling here. I'm gonna take Jamison Williams. I think he's gonna have a big year. Dan Campbell's super high on him, and that's the kind of thing I love to hear going into the season. Is when the coaching staff says they want to get this guy involved more. Give me Jamison Williams and one of the most high-powered offenses in the league.
And one of the fastest dudes in the league.
Yep.
All right.
Come on.
Boy,
Boy.
oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, we are in the nitty
We're
gritty,
in the-
as they would
we're in the
say.
doldrums of the draft.
We might just be in the nitty, not even the gritty.
Yeah, nah, there's not much gritty.
It's not much grittying going on
There's
here.
not much
I mean, on my team there is. I have Jamar Chase, but I don't know about you guys.
Point.
I'm gonna go with Zach Moss here. Just ended up in Cincinnati. He had games last year where he was an RB1 without Jonathan Taylor in Indy last year. Kind of had a career revival, and I don't think Chase Brown is a better football player than him, so he should be on the field the majority of the time. I took a guy who, again, fits into the theme of my team. I think there should be guaranteed volume there with Zach Moss. I don't know how good he'll be, but I think at least to start the season, he'll be the unquestioned RB1. He should see the third down work for the most part. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to follow that up, and I'm going to take a swing for the fences. The first running back drafted off the board last year. The reason why I'm a little bit the reason why I'm a little bit concerned is because he is coming off a torn ACL, but if he's healthy, another one who should have no problem winning the backfield over and getting pretty much all the touches. I don't think Chuba Hubbard's a good football player either. I know he went for 1,000 yards last year, but
Did he?
I think he did.
He actually wasn't bad last year.
He was good last year. Chuba was good last year.
He had 1,100 yards from scrimmage,
Oh, okay.
like total yards.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with Jonathan Brooks here.
I like
Hopefully
the
wins.
Jonathan
Solid
Brooks pick
pick.
because I would have taken him if he fell to me. That was the guy that I had my eye on the whole time. So I actually really like that pick.
Man. I think it's gone on long enough. I'm not letting D-Hop go any further. I know he's older, but come on, man.
It's still
DeAndre Hopkins in the 9th round, I could work with that.
It's still DeAndre Hopkins. All right. This is a real tough position, man. All right, so you were talking about guaranteed touches.
No,
Who
you're gonna
else
do
is
it.
in the Giants' backfield, bro? Who else?
It's a good point.
He's got to do something this year. The The O-line's improved. There's nobody else. It's disgusting. It's a gross pick. But in the 9th round, why not? Give me Devin Singletary.
I thought about it.
All right. Next up.
Team 11 went back-to-back tight ends with Hawkinson and Dalton Schultz. That's something.
Can't
Guess
hate.
that's smart. If you're
Brother has
drafting
2 running
Yeah,
backs.
if you're taking Hawk, I mean, it's not a
the
terrible
worst
idea.
thing.
He's got 2 running backs.
All right. Oh, man. So now I'm just disgusted by all my options here.
Come on, dude.
I really don't like much of any of them. I took Michael Pittman, so that rules out A.D. Mitchell for me, as much as I do like taking rookies in drafts. For me, I'm gonna go upside here. There's no guaranteed wide receiver 1 in Buffalo, and I think that they're gonna get creative with how they use him. I think it's gonna be a big year for Curtis Samuel, so I'm gonna end up taking him and hope for the best.
Interesting, because I loved everything you said, and I think everything was right except the name. I'm going to take Khalil Shakir. I think Khalil Shakir.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah, exactly. You can take Keon Coleman. That's fine, but he was really good when the second half of last season. So I like Khalil Shakir a lot. Not mad at the Samuel pick though.
All right, with this pick, I didn't really want to go running back here, but again, we're building the team of guaranteed touches. I think the offensive line is good. They just brought in a coach who is known for his grounding and pounding, and if anyone could ground and pound, it is this guy. He's homegrown from the same air that we breathe. Give me
Yes, sir.
Staten Island legend Gus Edwards.
Gus the Bus Edwards.
I mean,
solid
he's a
pick,
touchdown machine when he's on the field. So
I
take
love
that.
Gus, man. Staten Island, born and raised.
Oh, it's me again.
Yes, it is.
I definitely have to take a receiver here, given I think I only have 3 receivers on my roster, and one of them is rookie Lad McConkey.
Oof. Oof. Just oof.
Oh, come on,
Take Mike
dude.
Williams.
I'm going to go for Jacoby Myers
I
here.
was looking at
I
him.
think Jacoby Myers is a solid option. Not going to woo you away, but he's a guy who got over 100 targets last year. That's normally a benchmark for receivers when I'm drafting them. If you don't get 100 targets, I don't really want you on my team. So he met that threshold, went for 8 touchdowns last year. I think he should be just a reliable guy who I could plug in if I need a flex option.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go running back here. I'm gonna take a guy that was really good when given the opportunity last year, and I think with the guy ahead of him coming off a very serious injury, I think it could happen again. Give me Jerome Ford.
That's a great pick. All right. Getting down to my last few picks here. The fact that I know that Justin Herbert doesn't have the greatest weapons in the world, and I'm not taking him because I already took Patrick Mahomes. But if this doesn't show you that you could wait a little bit on a quarterback, potentially take 2 back-to-back late here if you really so choose.
Dude.
Bro, Justin Herbert in the 11th round is insane. Just given the upside of Herbert and what he's capable of. With that being said, I feel when you get to these late picks, I think rookies are great picks at this point. And I think post-hype sleepers are great picks at this point. And last year, I might have been the highest human being on the planet on this guy. And he let me down tremendously. But given that there's a new quarterback in town, maybe Jahan Dotson finally has his breakout year. I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson and pray for the absolute best.
All right. So now we go kickers defense.
No.
Oh, no kickers defense?
No, no
nice.
kickers in
Okay,
defense.
okay.
Those are the last 2 picks.
Yeah, we're not doing kicker defense in mock drafts, bro.
Right,
Yeah, no.
We can maybe do a TikTok segment at the very end of draft season, like one time, just talking about it, but we're not talking about that.
All right, and this one's disgusting to me because I don't know how good he's going to be out the gates, but he's a rookie, and I'm going to take my chances on him because we really don't know who the set number 1 is. I'm going to shoot for Xavier Legette and hope for the best, and maybe he turns out to be a great player.
His accent is awesome.
He's awesome.
Fucking love
His
it.
vibes are A1, and he's built like an absolute truck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's a unit.
We're down here.
Yeah, we're definitely.
You know what, man?
we are indeed down here.
Speaking of not knowing who the wide receiver 1 is going to be, it's ugly, but he's got Justin Herbert as his quarterback. Give me Quentin Johnston in the 12th round.
I'm not sure if that dude's good at football, to be honest.
Oh
He might
my
not
God.
be, but he might
Team
be.
4, bro.
Josh
Fucking
Downs. Yeah, that was the
asshole,
other. That was the
man.
other guy I was thinking.
Man, bro.
Oh shit. Nah, I'm good. Give me Mr. Rashid Shaheed. Listen, I'm probably if I draft him, I'm probably maybe gonna play him 4 weeks in the season, maybe even less. But
Just gotta hope you pick
if
the
I
right
play
four.
him in those right weeks, he's a guy who could give you 20 points on any given week.
That's
So
completely respectable.
with my last pick in the draft, you know what? I'm going to be smart here, man. I drafted Alvin Kamara early on. I talked about the one thing I'm scared of is Kendra Miller. Let me draft his handcuff, and if one of those guys goes out, I might have the league winner. So,
Yep.
My last pick is going to be. Hey, listen, they got a rookie quarterback. He could ball out. He might be the only bright spot on their receiving core. I'm gonna take Demario Douglas.
I like the Mario.
Last round.
I like Jalen Polk,
If Drake,
too.
yeah, him too. If
like
Drake
Jalen.
May balls out, one of them's got to be good, you know.
So I'm surprised this guy fell to this point. It's another situation where you don't really know who's going to emerge from it. But if he does, then it's going to be an absolute beautiful pick at this point in the draft. And he's gotten hyped this season. It's Dontavion Wicks. I think from everything that all the reports and everything like that, Dontavion Wicks is set to have a big season. If he is the guy for Jordan Love, oh boy, what a season that's going to be.
All right.
So
wow.
That's the draft.
What a
How
draft.
you guys feeling?
Jinx soda.
I think I drafted a great team.
I don't know how I feel about my team.
Yeah, I could have done better.
I definitely could have done better, but
I honestly love this team.
You know
I
what it is?
drafted.
Like I took Kelsey in the third round. Anytime you take a tight end or a quarterback super high, you're gonna feel like you're a little weak in other spots. But that's
Yeah.
kind of the point. Yeah.
yeah, it's tough to take the one-offs early on.
Yeah.
But
But it's Travis Kelsey.
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty decent at every position. I feel like I'm not hurting myself in any position. What did BallGame Pod do? Let's see.
I was just looking at the.
Brock Purdy, Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, CD, DK, Mark Andrews. Oh God, this is a team. This is a team.
It is one of the teams.
It
Indeed.
is one of the teams of all time.
That's how that works. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't hate my team. My team's solid. I just don't trust
Lots. Team 6 has Jalen Warren as their RB2. That's tough. Oh no, Team 7 has Austin Eckler as their RB2. That's tough.
Deontay scares me a little bit on your team, but I actually love every other pick for the most
Yeah.
part.
No, I
Deontay's
cooked.
cool.
I had a great draft.
I like your
I
draft.
have fucking
yeah.
Josh Allen.
True.
Josh Allen is.
You get Josh Allen, you did well. You did well.
Yeah.
I think.
Your
No,
running
it's
backs
completely-
scare me.
Oh, my running backs scare me too.
I love your receivers though.
Yeah. Yeah. I like my
Jameson is
receivers, too.
Is pretty much you're looking at him as like your.
My
4 or
team's
5.
basically contingent on Glad McConkey being an all-time great NFL receiver.
Something like those are
You
real.
know, it's a
Those
bet
are,
I'm willing to take.
those are realistic expectations
It's
for
a
sure.
bet I'm willing to take. Yeah.
No, sure. Here's Justin Herbert at quarterback, right? This is a top 4 quarterback in the league. Everyone.
So does Quentin
right?
Johnston.
Oh boy, why are we hating on Jay Herbo, man? I like my team. I'm confident.
I'm not
in my
mad
team.
at it,
I think
yeah.
my team could win.
Can't wait for fantasy season, man.
Yeah, bro, I'm excited.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
All right. That's all we got. So, all right. Well, tonight we have a big
We have a funeral.
Game 5. One that will be won by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we're going to Game 6, and we're going straight back to Dallas, where Micah Parsons will be handed a jersey by Anthony Edwards, or sneakers, or whatever it was.
Shoes.
But anyways, Minnesota is winning tonight. That's all I know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, the Rangers are on. Let's fucking go, Rangers. That's simple. Let's go up 3-2 on Florida. Let's get to the Stanley. Let's go get Lord Stanley, please. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all of our socials, all that good stuff. Cabo BallGame 1K hoodie. Enjoy the sports tonight. Fantasy football is a thing. It's back. It's getting closer than you think.